Some people have a hard time making a long-term commitment to stay off smoking. This became obvious to me in my first clinic. I had a man in the clinic named Vic, and I have 4 other videos talking about Vic that I'm going to put the link into the video description. He was a very colorful character. He had lots of interesting stories and insights. One of the things that this video is about, though, is how when he quit, he said he was going to quit. He was going to stay off. He wasn't happy about it. He was quitting to make somebody else happy in the beginning. He was saying he was feeling rotten. He kept saying he was feeling no improvements, even though there were. But again, the other videos will cover this. But he had told me that he was going to quit, that he knew it was right for his health. But he was going back to smoking when he was 80. He was around 50 when he joined the clinic, and he had already planned in about 30 years he'd go back. His logic was, well, at 80, who the hell cares? That's how he said it. He became a regular panelist for me. He was probably the longest-term panelist that I had, coming to help people quit smoking. But even in those panels, he would say, his life is better, he could do many more things, but he was planning on going back to smoking when he was 80. And he had said this year after year after year in the beginning. All of a sudden, though, he was doing a panel at one time, and I don't remember how many years he was off at this point, and he did the same spiel of the other stories that he had told, but when he got to the section about how he was planning on going back to smoking when he was 80, he says to a group, a new group of people he hadn't met before, that he was planning on going back to smoking when he was 90. And he caught me off guard. The group didn't notice anything because they hadn't seen him say this before. But I said, Vic, what happened? I thought you were going back to smoking when you were 80. And he said, well, he was driving home from work one day recently, and he had the radio on. It was a talk radio station, and there was a radio host, I think his name was Wally Phillips, and he was reading the story about a retired civil servant from another country who had a measly pension. But what he was doing with this measly pension was saving a few pennies of his of this money and putting it into an account. And he was doing this year after year after year. And what he did with the money was, for his 80th birthday, he hired himself a private performance by an exotic dancer. Well, while he's laughing, I guess, as he's telling the story, he said, the man had this performance and he died during the performance. It was too much for him. The excitement of the dance basically did him in. Vic heard this and thought, well, if interest was still there at 80, maybe he should go a little bit longer. So he boosted it to 90. But again, it hit the point that whether you're working with the basis the day you quit, that you're going to be off forever, it's not important. Your goal really should be just make it through that first day. And the second day, make it through the second day. And keep doing it a day at a time. If you're one of these people who have this imagery that you're going back at, some magical future date, decades in the future, well, who knows? Maybe you will, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll get closer to that point in time and realize, there's still stuff worth living for. And you know what you need to do if you want to enhance your chance of living more and more time. And what that really comes down to, if you want to live longer, is sticking to your personal commitment to never take another puff.